I think it's important for the adult children that are making these choices to have empathy. And I know there's a lot of people out there that say, I'm an empath. I can feel people's feelings and da-da-da. Well, bullshit. If you could, you would never cut anybody off like this. There's a lot of labels that go around about, empathy and sympathy and blah, 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 blah. I don't believe love ever ends. I believe if you've loved somebody at any time in your life, that love goes on forever. It may change and it may be fluid. Like my ex-husband, for instance, we were married 23 years and I will always love him. He will always love me. It's not the same love, but we care about each other. We would not want any harm on each other. Do I want to be married to him? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I left for a reason, but I would never I did not cut him off. I did not, I did a video on this before. I wasn't going to break down the entire family just because him and I didn't want to live together anymore. And it's not like we talk, we see each other at the holidays. There's moments where I'm very angry with him, but the love's always there underneath. And I feel like, if you never loved your parent at all, you need to ask yourself why. You need to stop putting it on them and figure out what's wrong with you. How can you not love someone that, now again, let's cross out abuse. And I'm not talking about the occasional spanking. I'm talking about abuse. Would be weird for a child not to love their parent. Ever. Ever. They fed you, they clothed you, they gave you a home to live in, they took you on vacations, whatever, I'm talking about the fairly normal families out there, and now these kids are cutting them off because of boundaries or because of political differences or, come on, grow up a little bit.
So this conversation always spark debates online, and it revolves around something that has become very, very common over the years. Adult children going completely no contact with their parents. If you spend time on social media, you see videos of parents who are very hurt, confused, and angry about the fact that their children went no contact with them. That is, their children have cut them off. They talk about how they don't understand what they did wrong, how children of today are very sensitive, or how this generation is very dramatic and entitled. But then you also have another side of the conversation where some people are saying that sometimes when adult children go no contact, it's not random and it's not impulsive. Sometimes it's as a result of years of unresolved issues between parents and their children. Let's watch some of these videos and we'll be right back to discuss it.
Gen X parents don't always say it out loud, but it quietly breaks us when our kids pull away. We were the latchkey generation, raised ourselves, kept it in, walked it off. So when we became parents, we tried to give what we didn't get: more safety, more presence, more love. We weren't perfect. We were tired. Learning as we went, carrying our own unhealed stuff while trying not to pass it on. Now they're grown, talking about boundaries and distance and protecting their peace, and we're sitting here replaying every ride to school, every game we showed up for, every I love you we hoped was enough. It's not anger, it's grief. Grieving the closeness, grieving the silence, grieving the version of the future we thought we shared. Gen X parents don't want control. We want connection, and we're still here whenever they're ready.
It was just me as a Gen X mom admitting to the abuse and trauma that I caused my children. The first couple days, I read through every comment and I fucking cried. But we're 5 days later and there's over 10,000 comments. My heart is just broken because of these 10,000 comments, most of them are adult children sharing their stories of their parents not listening to them, their parents having been abusive to them. How do I reach the Gen X and boomer moms and dads? I know a lot of you commented dads too. How do we close this gap? It's so lopsided. It is really lopsided. Like the Gen X and the boomers, we're in fucking denial, y'all. Do you know how long I denied my children acknowledgement of my abuse? A long fucking time. My oldest child, that poor girl. Fuck. On behalf of Gen X and boomers, I'm sorry for what we've done. I'm sorry. really fucking sorry. And I'm sorry that your parents aren't apologizing. I'm sorry that your parents don't recognize the abuse they endured and therefore are incapable of recognizing the abuse that they caused on you. I'm sorry. Your trauma is real. It's valid. Your pain, it's real and it's valid. And I am sorry. I am so fucking sorry that your own parents aren't telling this to you. I'm sorry. And I just hope they do better.
Gen X boomers are not really as fazed by their adult children going no contact.
I'm in no way trying to diminish what she just said, but as a Gen X parent, I can tell you that all of our lives, we were told that no matter what we did, it would never be good enough. And so if we have children that go no contact with us, to be honest, we're not surprised because our own trauma is kicking in and we think they're right. It comes as no surprise that we're not good enough as parents or as anything else. So not trying to diminish your trauma at all, but this may have more to do with your parents' trauma than yours.
Dear Gen X, did you think you were safe? Boomers at least didn't raise their kids with financial expectations. Gen X expected their kids to start paying rent the minute they got a job at 16. Boomers still bought your first car, and Gen X told us that we had to buy our own from our own paychecks, or sometimes they would match us halfway. Boomers raised you with the expectation that when you grew old, you were going to take care of them. Gen X told you their responsibility ended at 18. Boomers still believed in blue collar and art. Gen X told us they weren't paying for some bullshit art degree. Boomers were proud to work with their hands. Gen X told you that was dirty work. They said robots were going to replace everything. Boomers may not have left you everything, but they did help you put down your down payment on your first home. Gen X told us go spend $100K on your degree and figure it out. Boomers respected family traditions and gatherings. Gen X said what gatherings? Boomers raised all their kids and hated them equally. Gen X picked a favorite and enabled them. Gen X created the first daughter drama. Because although their parents helped them with their kids, they told us, the children, to take care of their kids. What drives me absolutely insane about boomer parents versus Gen X parents is that boomers still helped their kids throughout their life. They still gave them a leg up. Gen X said, I was codependent on my parents financially, so I don't want you to be codependent on me financially, so therefore they adopted the bird's nest theory. You know, where they just throw us out of the nest and hope we survive. And that's why both boomers and Gen X are getting the same treatment.
Now, in one of the videos we watched, there was a particular TikToker that compared parenting styles between different generations. That's the boomers and the Gen X's. And her argument is that a lot of Gen X parents created a very different environment for their kids compared to the boomers. I'm not saying that every single argument that she gave is completely correct across the board, but the comparison itself is interesting because it raises questions about expectations and about how parenting styles evolve. She talked about financial expectations. She said that many boomer parents did not place strong financial demands on their children while they were still young. Some parents from the boomer generation helped their Gen X children buy their first cars, supported them while they were trying to figure out their careers, or just expected them to take time while finding their career path in life. And according to her, Gen X parents were now the complete opposite. They believed that children should start paying for things themselves very early, and if those children wanted things like maybe a car or anything else, the parent might match half, but the responsibility was still on the child. She also said that many Gen X parents made it very clear to their children that their responsibility ended when the children became 18. The message that some of these kids got growing up was that once you turn 18, you are now an adult. Again, that may not be every Gen X household, but most people said that was their experience. Another thing she talked about was career expectations. Many boomer parents had respect for blue collar and for art, according to her. Working with your hands, building something, fixing something, making something physical or creative was seen as work. But she claimed that Gen X parents now had a different mindset towards certain type of work. They looked down on certain kinds of work, or where careers in arts were seen as impractical or not worth supporting financially. Now, that video is where the conversation of no contact starts to connect. Because when adult children decide to cut off contact with their parents, it's not something that just started all of a sudden, or it's not a decision they just made all of a sudden. Most of the time, it's as a result of years of tension, resentment, or feeling like their emotional needs were never understood. Sometimes children grow up feeling like their parents were more focused on toughness rather than support. Their parents were not willing to listen to them, were not willing to understand their feelings, were not willing to even, take a moment to just see where this child is coming from and listen to this child. They were just focused on going by the books, following a strict rule. And then when these kids grow up and still don't understand why their parents behave that way, they cut contact. When you listen to these parents talk about how their children cut them off, you would think that, oh, life is really so unfair. They'll talk about the sacrifices they made, the roof they put over the child's heads, the food they provided, the house. And these things absolutely matter. Raising children is actually not easy, and providing for a family is not easy at all. But providing the basics does not automatically mean that the relationship is healthy. Sometimes what adult children are actually looking for is emotional understanding, accountability, or even just acknowledgement that certain things in the past may have hurt them. And when parents refuse to reflect on that possibility, conversation becomes stuck. Instead of asking what might have gone wrong so that they will take accountability, these parents start looking for sympathy from other people that agree with them. I would say that if your child cuts you off, or you're in a situation where your child cut you off, I need you to look inwards. Look inwards and reflect on what might have gone wrong, what went wrong. And if you're a parent and your child is about to cut you off, or you are seeing that your child is trying to distance themselves from you, instead of trying to say how ungrateful this child is and blah blah blah, especially if that child is an adult, please listen to the child. And when I say listen, don't just hear. Listen so that you understand why that child is behaving like that. I'd love to hear what you guys think about this video in the comments. My name is Benita. If you're new here, welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, all the love in the world. I'll see you guys in my next video.